Today we're going to talk about D-Bol, Dianabol, and it's got another name as well, which I can't pronounce, so I'm not going to say. It begins with M. Anyway, is it a good steroid to take, and does it pack on some muscle? Absolutely. Probably one of the best things, one of the best orals to take. In fact, if you just want to get big, bloated, add on some crazy amounts of mass, it might not all be muscle. If you want to get big in a hurry, or if you want to front load a cycle, if you're doing a steroid cycle and you haven't done one for a while and you want to front load something before everything else kicks in, get some D-Bol in your system. 20 milligram, 30 milligram, 50 milligram, pump it up, get it in your system and get massive. Now, one of the first things that I ever took when it came to orals was oxys, and obviously this first thing, if you can call it that, the next thing that I took was D-Bol. They were in a tub of 1,000. They used to come in a tub of 1,000. It was a big tub, and it used to be called British Dragon, and we were told it was made in Thailand. We don't know if it was or wasn't, but that's what we was told, and they were pink hexagon tablets. If you are familiar with stuff like that from the early 2000s, you know what I'm talking about. British Dragon was the bomb back in those days, and they did oxys and they did D-Bol. Now the D-Bols were just crazy. Literally, I remember going to the gym when we used to buy it, and the guy used to count them out of the packet, so you could buy 100 or 50 off him, and he just used to count them out of the 1,000 tub pack and then just give them out. In fact, once I do remember chipping in with a couple of lads and actually buying the whole 1,000 tub because we loved them so much. I remember guys back in the days taking 20 D-Bol tablets pre-workout. Yes, 20, so that's 100 milligram. Knocking it back, drinking a bit of water. 20 milligram tablets. People were eating these like Smarties, literally. Great steroid, great for size, great for strength. When I was on D-Bol, by the way, at that time, I was taking 50 milligram. So we used to split it up throughout the day. We were a bit stupid back them days. We didn't realize. So what we did was we used to split 4-4-2, like a football formation. I just remember it. 4 in the morning, 4 before training, and 2 before bed. That's how we kind of split D-Bol up. And I got so strong off D-Bol. It's unbelievable. I was jacked. Like I said, forget t-shirts. I was filling hoodies and jackets out. That is when I was at probably the peak when I was on D-Bol, along with other stuff as well, which I have mentioned. The whole sus and Decker stack. But it's a crazy, crazy drug. Unbelievable. Now, side effects. There are many. For me, when it came to D-Bol, other than the water retention, which I kind of welcomed because I wanted the size at the time. I was a small guy. I wanted the whole, puffy, big look. I wasn't bothered about water retention. My face kind of ballooned up a little bit, but I wasn't too bothered about it. But the main thing it did for me, which is what I didn't like, was the appetite suppressant. That's what it was, weirdly enough. And it's not that it's just an appetite suppressant as such. It just makes you feel a little bit sick, especially for someone like me who has a very sensitive stomach and not a big eater as it is anyway. So the second I used to have D-Bol, I used to be like, finish my training, and I was like looking at my food, staring at my food. I've just had a protein shake and I'm thinking, I don't really want to eat this. Then I did eventually eat it really slow. It took me like half an hour to eat my food. Then the last meal came in the nighttime. I was like, I don't really want to eat this. So that was the problem with me. So it was kind of like counterproductive, because when you are doing D-Bol to grow, you want to be shoveling in the most amount of food. So for me, I was like, I can take the D-Bol and get big and bulky and watery, or can I eat the food and get big and massive without D-Bol? I couldn't do both together. That was my issue. So unfortunately for me, it wasn't a great steroid. I did, however, later on in life, figure something out, and that was to take 20 milligrams pre-workout. That was it. In fact, no, I lied. It was 10 milligrams. 10 milligram pre-workout, I did that, and it worked perfectly fine. And with that, I could run it a little bit longer. So rather than running it for like 4 weeks, I could run it for like 6 weeks. Didn't get the same effect as if I was taking 50 milligrams or even 40 milligrams. But the fact that I could eat the food and get through the workouts better by taking the D-Bol, I welcomed it. I didn't mind it. So it was a great thing for me. Amazing thing to stack with a bulking stack. That was probably why I do it. Whack it in. If it doesn't mess with your appetite, whack it in. Just go for it. Don't do this long term though, because it will tear through your liver. when you know it, when you're sat down and your sides are hurting a little bit and you're drinking loads of water and you're thinking, do you know what, something's not right over here. So you've got to be very careful. It is very highly liver toxic, so be very, very smart. Do not run it for more than 6 weeks. No, I'd say 4 weeks. What to do is peak up to the max, get right up to the max, the max steroid cycle that you're going to take. Get the biggest possible, get as most bloated as possible as you can. Then whack it in for 4 weeks and you're just going to get a new, crazy amounts of strength, but then just come off and you got to taper the way down after that. I don't mean taper, I mean come off and then try and chill out a little bit for a little bit. Don't mess around with no orals. Now let's move on to TRT. Should you be taking it with TRT? No, absolutely no. I know people are thinking, well, it's just a bit of test. Will it work the same? Look, guys, you can try it by all means. I wouldn't recommend it. It's just too heavy. It's just too potent, too liver toxic. It's not like Dianabol. It's not like Winstrol. It's not like Primo or anything like that. This is quite, heavy artillery. This is frontline stuff. So unless you're a competitive bodybuilder, I would not be touching this ever. Another thing as well, if you are a competitive bodybuilder and you're like at the last 2 to 3 weeks before your show and you're looking really lean, but you're a little bit, the energy levels are really low, banging 20 milligrams pre-workout. It will get you through those workouts. In fact, that is a better pre-workout than any pre-workout on the market. I don't touch pre-workouts. My pre-workout's up here. But if I was to ever take a pre-workout and ever needed it, not now, obviously, I'm on TRT, but back in those days, 10 milligrams of D-Bol pre-workout was amazing when I was on steroids. So definitely recommend it. So yeah, basically that's it. Great for size and strength. Don't do it long term. Hopefully this video gave you guys some value. Comment down below, like, and please subscribe.